Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's a traditional Christmas movie that we have all seen. What if I told you there is a darker meaning to this entire story, and one of these characters needs to be locked up for good, and I'm talking about no other than Santa Claus. He needs to be locked up and put away for good. And now, what do I mean? Like, how could Santa Claus be a master criminal? Well, we saw at the very beginning of this movie where, Rudolph was born, he has a red nose, and no one really thinks about it besides it gonna fade away and turn into, the regular black nose. But once, the father puts, black coal so he could play with other reindeers and it, falls off, Santa Claus does nothing to help Rudolph from stop being picked on. He goes straight to the father and scolds him. Found that odd? And the moment that Rudolph runs off, he meets this elf who doesn't quite fit the elf criteria of an elf. Usually they just wrap Christmas presents and do that. No, this elf wants to do something different. And guess what? He's bullied and also cast aside. And then they find this thing called Mischief Toys. And this is where the toys don't quite fit the material, the little arm or leg or the stitch is not right, or something has happened to them. And at first, when I watched this when I was super young, I thought this is just maybe lost toys that maybe Santa Claus forgot. No, they're not. They were deliberately thrown out by Santa Claus. Santa Claus has this weird idealistic idea of perfection. The moment when he's super skinny and stuff, he's the children want big and fat Santa. They can't have scrawny Santa. But at the end of the movie, when he's flying to the houses, he doesn't want to go down a single chimney. The elves are just giving toys presents, and they're going down the chimney, not Santa, not once. So what was this point of big old fat Santa? Well, it's because of perfection. Santa is a perfectionist, and it's totally making him evil. Now, since Rudolph, the elf, and elves don't meet his perfectionist criteria, he completely throws them out, ignores them, and hopes that they will die one day. Unfortunately, his plan is foiled, and it's not by the fog. The only reason that Rudolph even gets recognition and gets to fly on his sleigh is because, one, of the abominable snowman, and two, because of his bright red nose. Now, the abominable snowman, is terrorizing the reindeers, capturing, it's eating them. This is a big delay for Santa Claus. So Rudolph and this minor guy that's randomly in the North Pole for some reason. I have no clue what his deal with is. He's just in the North Pole. I'm okay, why are you here? I think he has some sort of connection to Santa Claus in this place. Maybe he's keeping tabs on Santa because he knows something's going on, but he must lie in order to not get caught by Santa Claus. Anyway, they go and they defeat the bottomless snowman and saving his parents, which gives him the recognition he needs. Unfortunately, Santa, he's still skinny and scrawny. He hasn't found it out once. When he goes up to the reindeer and says, "Oh, we can't fly in this fog at all, boo-hoo." Unfortunately, Rudolph, shows his big white nose, and Santa's "Oh, yay, now we can make it, thank you." And then somehow he gets all fat and jolly, and they go and get the mischief toys, and they live happily ever after. Unfortunately, I don't think this happily ever after even exists. Now, I know a lot of people would just be because Rudolph got hit by that big old rock thing and died. Yes, Rudolph could have died, or he could still be alive. First, I'm gonna do Rudolph dying. This is just him in the afterlife. So Rudolph is dead, and this just means he's imagining the very end, what he always wanted, everyone having happily ending. Unfortunately, this isn't true at all. Santa Claus is still big and jolly and rides his sled, because no matter what, he's still gonna fly there. And the elves must always make presents, no matter what. Everything, it's still the same gimmick. The toys are long forgotten, rusting away until they're dust. Now, if he is alive, unfortunately, this still would not last forever. For Santa Claus, again, is a perfectionist. And again, he may allow certain things slide, but once Rudolph dies or no longer can fly, he's gonna go back to the same way he is.